Twilight the Terrible by Arcade Striker, JK5, Chapter 3. Celestia and Luna quickly reached Canterlot, flying up to the tallest tower in the capital and landing on a balcony near the top. They entered a large hallway lined with stained glass windows, a long carpet on the floor, and an opposing door at the far end with a sun painted over the center and a keyhole in the hub. Celestia trotted to the door, bent her head down, and inserted the tip of her horn into the hole. Electric blue light radiated from the hole and spread through the tips of the sun rays. The door split open, revealing a gem-covered box on a dais. The box floated out and laid open, revealing the elements of harmony. They floated out while Celestia glanced at Luna over her shoulder. "Are you sure about going with her to this alternate world?" She turned around. "This other Equestria needs help, yes. But Nightmare Moon's help? Wouldn't that be worse?" Luna locked eyes with Celestia, holding a steady gaze. "If we use the elements of harmony on her, she'll be severely weakened and might not trust us. An ambush as an attack is not exactly something that would engender cooperation." She stepped up to her sister. "This other me, she would need all her strength to aid me." Celestia shook her head. "I don't like it." The voice floated up to Luna's side, taken by the dark alicorn's telekinesis. "Neither do I," she responded. She sighed and her wings drooped. "And I was about to cut the ribbon to Manhattan train station next week, too." Celestia bit her lip. She reached up with a foreleg and gently struck Luna's back. "I'll have a talk with the officials and maybe push the opening date back." She winked. Luna glanced away. "No, it wouldn't be right." She trotted up to the balcony. "Come, sister!" she cried out, spreading her wings. "To the Everfree!" She leaped into the air, flying off with the box of the elements trailing behind, and shouted in her magic. Celestia rolled her eyes, but jumped up, following Luna across the sky back to the Everfree forest. Nightmare Moon sat in a field, completely still save for her tail and mane. Her eyes slowly moved up to focus on a low cloud floating above. "I can hear your heartbeat, Pegasus. Come on down and talk if you're able." The cloud exploded into fragments as Rainbow Dash zoomed down, leaving a multicolored contrail behind. The Pegasus had a pair of saddlebags slung around her withers, and each one was filled to almost overflowing. She flew around her hooves, skating to a stop right above Nightmare Moon's muzzle. "Don't think I won't be keeping both eyes on you, Nightmare Moon!" She jabbed a foreleg at the alicorn. "If you try anything with my friends, I'll bug you so hard you'll shatter your legs in attempt," the alicorn said, interrupting Dash. She arched an eyebrow. "What? Do you really think useless posturing will impress me in any way, especially since we both know your threats are hollow?" She stood up, smiling as Dash reached away from her. "Still, if you'd like to try, go ahead. You don't need your legs to fly after all." Dash's lips curled back. She flew around Nightmare Moon's head and body, making quick chases in direction. "Doesn't matter, Nightmare Moon!" She flew up, stopping suddenly, turning around. She strode straight at the alicorn's back, stopping the last possible second and flying around to stare back at Nightmare Moon's nuzzle. "No matter what, I won't let you hurt my friends or betray them in any way." Nightmare Moon's body remained still, but a genuine smile crept its way across her mouth. "I see loyalty found itself quite suited to one wielding it," she said, shaking her head and slowly nodding. "I would trust you in a fight, but there would be regret at turning one such as yourself into a red mist. You have my respect, Rainbow Dash, at least in that regard." Dash's mouth opened for a moment. "Yeah, well, thanks, I think." She cocked her head to the side. "So, even if you're from another dimension, the elements of harmony still feel the same?" "At least loyalty does, even though it's been a millennium since I wielded it," Nightmare Moon responded. She broke eye contact with Dash, her gaze wandering out to the blue sky above. "I remember long ago, Celestia and I wielded the elements against all forces of evil. Discord, Sombra, the Smooth, and even the Changeling Queen herself fell before us. For a time, I felt peace. And then the ponies betrayed me, casting me aside in my glorious night!" Nightmare Moon's wings shot out, and arcs of electricity traveled up and down her horn. Her eyes went white. "And they shunned me, turning away my gifts, and siding with Celestia, when all I wanted was appreciation for my hard work. She focused on Das. Tell me, is it fair? Is it nice to do all that? She shouted, stomping the ground. Das whistled to stop, but held her place in the air. She took in a deep breath. It wasn't like that, she said. Princess Celestia tried to talk to you. Well, the you for this Equestria. But you, well, the other... Her eyes crossed slightly. Oh, but this is confusing. She shook her head. Well, if my reality is as close to yours as we think it is, then did your Celestia try to talk to you? Nightmare Moon's head shot up. Her nostrils flared and she snorted, pushing Das away. You weren't there, she stated, voice unnaturally even. How would it feel to you if everything you worked on, everything you slaved over was rejected? All those beautiful nights, all those jewels hanging in the sky. I did it for my little ponies, and they stayed inside during my nights until daybreak and my sister's return. A slow wind blew through the field. Neither Das nor Nightmare Moon spoke for a few minutes. Finally, the Pegasus cleared her throat. So, guessing you were also generosity? Nightmare Moon's head slowly turned away from Das. I gave them all I could. I protected them, and they betrayed me, and I rejected my gifts. She turned her head back, me whipping about like in a hurricane. And now they suffer under the Tyrant Filly, while my sister lies on death's floor. The corners of her lips twitched, almost as she wasn't sure whether to smile or frown. Das shook her head. Yeah, they so deserve it. She flew up, spinning around a circle, gathering moisture as dust clouds sparkles up. Within seconds, a small cloud had formed. She slipped up and over, doing a backflip before settling down on it. She stretched over in her forelegs over her head. She paused, turned to look back down. What was the other one? Nightmare's eyes flickered upward. My other what? Das groaned, pulling at the breath and tussling her mane. Your other element of harmony, duh! Honesty. Das winked. She turned back and looked at the sky once more. That makes sense. Chapter 4. The sun slowly set across the sky as Nightmare Moon continued to wait. Her only companion, Rainbow Dash, and the Pegasus had been rather silent after their initial exchange. Finally, her ears twisted as they picked up the sounds of hoofs and wings. She looked to the sky and saw Celestia and Luna flying in from Canterlot, a large box trailing them. After a moment, she turned her head and saw the other elements galloping down from the road to Ponyville. Each one had saddlebags stuffed full of supplies, Spike sitting on Twilight's back. Nightmare Moon slowly stood as he approached. You have them, she stated, looking at the box. She snorted and took a single step back. I'm not sure how much I trust that you won't simply blast me with them right now. Celestia eyed her. We won't, as long as you don't attack or betray us. She tilted her head to the side and floated the box over. It opened, 5 necklaces and a crown floating out to their respective bearers. Celestia tried up to Nightmare Moon. You are my sister, but also not my sister. My feelings are conflicted on this matter, she admitted, hanging her head for a moment before looking back up and locking eyes with her. But I promise you this. If you harm Luna or the ponies who go to aid you in your Equestria, I will not rest until I see you brought low. Celestia's mane flared, building up behind her and whipping about. Nightmare Moon met Celestia's stare with one of her own. If I am not betrayed, then I now shall not betray. My words bind me. She turned to the ponies, eyeing Rarity. The alabaster unicorn had a reddish cloak fastened about her neck. 5 others trailed behind her. A wise decision, she said, nodding. Rarity's cheeks colored. Why, thank you! She crossed her left foreleg over her right, striking a pose. They're not utterly flexible, with a waterproof fabric, pockets on the inside, some flaps for wings, and a hood loosened up the horns, but also quite fashionable. She fluttered one to each of her friends. They're clasped on your kitty box. Her eyes lit up. I created them earlier, just needed impetuous to put the entire ensemble together. You understand, don't you? His cloak wrapped herself around a pony, Spike hopping off before Twilight's cloak encircled her. The clasps hooked together around the neck and cloaks draped themselves over each pony, hanging snug to keep all but the strongest winds out, but also loose enough at the hems as to not impede leg movement. Applejack moved about, cantering to and fro. Not bad, Rarity! Her eyes lit up to her hat, pressed on top of her head. She jerked her head forward, and the cloak hood slid forward right over her beloved heirloom. How good of you, Rarity. Thank you, Captain. Everyone looked at the others. The rest of you have some professors and supplies. Ethel nods, and words of assent. She looked to Luna, still standing by Celestia. Are you prepared? Luna trotted over to her dark reflection, circling around Nightmare Moon. I am! She stopped after one full circle. Are you? Nightmare Moon turned away, trotting off and away from the group. She stopped a few meters away. I thank you for your assistance, she said, staring straight ahead. Now be ready, as I do not know how long I can keep this open. Her eyes half closed, and a long humming filled the air around her. Her horn began glowing, cerulean bolts of energy arcing up and down on it. A long, flickering pole of energy grew from her horn as she reared back, slicing through air, space, and the ether itself. A long gash was torn open, quickly widening. It was rimmed with blue, crackling energy wavered about. Neighbor Moon stepped back, her horns glow intensifying. Go! She shouted, digging her hoofs to the dirt. Applejack, Pinkie Pie, Rarity, Fluttershy, all galloped through the hole. Neighbor Dash flew through the sky, pausing for a moment and glaring at Nightmare Moon before entering. Luna glanced back at Celestia and smiled before galloping forth through the hole. Finally, Spike wrapped his arms around Twilight's neck in a hug. She leaned into it for a moment and galloped off for the hole, disappearing into the nothingness. Celestia cleared her throat. Remember my promise, Nightmare Moon, she said, her eyes hardening. Nightmare Moon allowed the barest fraction of a smile to cross her lips. I remember, and I shall honor the help. Loyalty looks after their own. With that, she spread her wings, lifted her hose off the ground and shot forward, turning into a blue flash that passed through the portal a half second before it closed. Celestia quietly trotted over to Spike's side. She knelt down to the baby dragon's level and leaned close to him. She'll be all right, she said, smiling. They'll all be all right. Spike's head bobbed up and down. Of course, Your Majesty. He puffed the air and popped about. There's no putting it all in question you can stop Twilight, not even some weird copy of her. He stopped bouncing around and looked at Celestia, his eyes wide. Right? Oh, that would be an interesting fight. Midnight Sparkle versus normal Twilight. Celestia simply looked to where the hole was. There's very little that can stop Twilight Sparkle, Spike. Her gaze softened. Stay safe, all of you. It was fire and ice. Up was left, right was backwards, and backwards was standing still. Everything you know is wrong. Time stretched into infinite ether, and it snatched forward. The ponies exited the hole, slowing their gait down quickly. Dash flew out, followed by Luna, then Nightmare Moon. The hole behind them closed up, the tier in space resealing itself with a small whoosh. Twilight glanced around. Every pony okay? Applejack glanced down at her hose and what was beneath them. I'm all right, but this grass here ain't. She looked up at Twilight, her expression grim. It's dying. Everyone looked around at the field they stood in. The grass, in stark contrast to the healthy green of Equestria they came from, was pale yellow and short. Farther in the distance stood trees, a few with leaves but most bare, their skeletal branches poking into the purple sky. A cool wind blew, rattling them and sending a few leaves to the ground. Twilight's breath caught her throat as she spotted the sun on the horizon, a pale disk hanging there, casting little light and almost as much warmth. She craned her neck and head up, raising a hoof as if to touch it. Her gaze drifted to the left into the moon, also hanging in the sky. It's stuck there? She asked, glancing to Nightmare Moon. Nightmare Moon nodded. Indeed, Twilight Sparkle. My own power is insufficient to move it, and the Tyrant Filly's power has tilted the balance I shared with Celestia. She looked at Luna. You don't suppose if we combine our powers we could wrest control of the sun from her? Luna slowly shook her head. We'd be constantly fighting her for control of the sun, and you and I both know how much damage that might happen during the struggle. She approached her dark reflection. It'd be better to confront her at Catalot. Fluttershy, what's wrong? Everyone looked at the pale yellow Pegasus sitting on the grass. Fluttershy's shoulders hit slightly as tears fell from her eyes. Ponyville, she swallowed. All the animals, all of us. Her head darted around. What happened there? Rainbow Dash landed to her, wrapped a ring around her body in a tight hug. Hey, it's all right. I'm sorry every pony there is doing their best. She looked around at her friends. her expressive confidence fading with every pair of eyes she met. Right? Twilight turned and walked up to Nightmare Moon, craning her neck up to look at the alicorn. Her ears folded back against her head, but she cleared her throat and spoke clearly. Nightmare Moon, I think it'd be best for us to check on Ponyville, to put our minds at ease. Nightmare Moon snorted. She bent her head down low, locking eyes with Twilight, and smiling when the unicorn physically flinched. That would be a complete waste of time. She furled away and gestured to Canterlot. Once the Tyrant Filly is defeated and my rightful place on the throne is restored, then perhaps we can visit Ponyville and assuage any fears you might have. Luna trotted around, facing Nightmare Moon. I believe it would be wise to at least have a look at Ponyville, she said, her expression neutral. You have been sealed away for 1,000 years. You need at the very least a base assessment of what's been going on, do you not? She turned, and mustered in the general direction of Ponyville. Her mane flared, and wind whipped around, rattling branches and sending dead leaves scattering. Besides, a visit there would lift their spirits and turn them to your banner, would it not? Nightmare Moon's mouth slowly turned upward. Yes, you're right. They have their loyalty, to show them that the true princess has returned. She spread her wings out, but a gesture from Luna stopped her from soaring into the air. What? Luna pointed out to the starless sky. It would be better to walk, to keep under the Tyrant Filly's senses. Besides, we get a better lay of the land on hoof. Piggy hopped up and spun around, jabbed one foreleg at Caroline. If Caroline is near, then Ponyville is. Other forelegs swept across, finally settling on a small gap in the trees. There! All eyes turned to the small break in trees, and the dirt path that barely wide enough for one pony to cross. Applejack trotted up to it and scraped a hoof across it. Lion's sakes, she looked back. Back home, this here's wide enough for a fully laden cart with all the trimmings to roll through. Nightmare Moon strode up to Applejack's side. Lead the way, then. I look forward to seeing my future subjects and assuring them the true princess has returned. Applejack hesitated. They glanced at Twilight, then Luna. At their nods, she turned and trotted off. Nightmare Moon close behind. Pinkie Pie and Rainbow Dash shouted Fluttershy as they followed. Rarity close behind. Luna and Twilight took up the rear. Twilight looked up to Luna as they approached a small gap. So, Princess, why are we going to Ponyville? I mean, really, why? Luna's horns softly glowed, and the branches parted slightly, allowing them to walk side by side down the path. The resin shield formed right in front of them, blocking their woods from raging nightmare. I believe my counterpart needs an object lesson in what eternal night would truly bring. She glanced down to Twilight. It was a harsh one for me, but necessary. And my counterpart will need it even more. Otherwise, we'd simply be exchanging one tyrant for another. Her hard gaze returned. And I know all too well what would happen if Nightmare Moon gained power over this Equestria. She looked over into Nightmare Moon. By all my power, that will not happen, Twilight Sparkle. It will not. Chapter 5. The 6 ponies and 2 alicorns moved through what was supposed to be whitetail wood, their hoof falls muffled by a dense layer of dead leaves. Fluttershy's head darted around, not stopping for an instant. Her ears stood straight up, twitching at any sound made. Her breathing increased slightly as they made their way past leafless trees and the occasional log. Dash glanced to her from her left. Fluttershy, I know how stupid this will sound, but are you all right? Rarity looked over from the right. Indeed, darling. You're sticking worse than Council predicted the last time the Crusaders were there for the weekly sleepover. She closed her eyes, shuddering herself. Fluttershy reached over a hoof, pushing her hood back. No, Dash, I'm not all right. But Whitetail Wood is even worse off. Her eyes darted from Dash to Rarity. Well, can you hear it? Rarity blinked. Yeah, what exactly? Fluttershy trotted ahead a few paces, before turning and facing her friends. Exactly! She waved a hoof and a foreleg in the air. I barely heard any insects while walking through here, saying nothing of birds, squirrels, or any other animals. Whitetail Wood is dying. There was a pause for several seconds before Luna could clear her throat, getting everyone's attention. She waited for them all to turn back to face her, and Twilight at the back before speaking. I'm afraid I can confirm Twilight's assessment of Whitetail Woods is correct, as well as Applejack's earlier statement about the grass. She turned her head aside, craned her head up, focusing on a branch and abandoned nest nestled in a crook. The land is sick and malnourished. The food chain has been broken. Nightmare Moon snored, drawing everyone to the front of the group. This is the Tyrant Filly's blundering, no doubt. Her mismanagement of the sun and inability to rule has no doubt wounded Equestria. When she is removed and I am on the throne, it can be made right. Fluttershy suddenly hopped up and flew right to Nightmare Moon, hovering a capable feet from her muzzle.
It's not this version of Twilight. Well, it is, but the sun's under her control. Well, even not under her control.
The Pegasus shook her head, pink mane playing wildly.
I mean, without the sun, photosynthesis won't occur. Planets die. The herbivores eating them starve, and the carnivores eating them starve. The scavengers and carrions eventually run out of food as well. Then they all die off, and...
Her voice trailed off as she stalked back to the ground. Nightmare Moon's eyes drilled into her.
And you get the idea from the Nightmare Moon.
Nightmare Moon stood before her a moment, before lowering her head to Fluttershy's level. She cocked her head to the side and eyes dimmed back to normal levels. So, where are the ponies to help out the animals and plants? She asked, voice tinged with mild curiosity. Before I was betrayed. A grunt from Applejack brought her head whipping to the side. What? She asked, staring at the earth pony. Applejack swallowed, drew herself as tall as she could before speaking. Begging your pardon, your majesty. Well, that's not the case. You see, without the sun, there's only so much we ponies can do. She held up her leg and pointed up at the dark, starless sky. Pegasus can make it rain, or clear away clouds. Earth ponies can help plants grow, and unicorns can aid with their magic. Without the sun. Her voice trailed off and merely shrugged, letting the wind whipping through the bare branches speak through her. The unicorn's eyes shifted from side to side before she wheeled about, digging her thorough in the ground with an armored hoof. Then it is best we finish this trip to Ponyville as soon as possible, she declared. She glanced back, her starlit mane whipping about. Come, little ponies. Time is short in my land. Applejack hung her head, but followed Nightmare Moon. The others trailing behind as they made their way through the woods. Twilight, still near the back of Luna, looked up to the lunar hierarch. Pardon me for asking, Princess, but... She suddenly looked at the floor of the group, and Nightmare Moon straight ahead, ears twice slightly. Luna's horn soared for a moment. She cannot hear you, she said, looking down by the unicorn at her side. So if you were to ask if I was as delusional as she is... Twilight's eyes widened as she seemed to think to herself. Well, it's just... Her cheeks turned a dark red and mouth clenched shut. I'm sorry, she mumbled, hanging her head. A slight chuckle came from Luna. She is in the deep throes of denial, she finally said, just as I was. The similarities are unnerving, to say the least. She glanced back at her cueing mark. I have learned of what happens when a pony is unable to perform their special talent, the thing they love doing the most. The research isn't as bad as stasis, but it describes what happened to me precisely. Her gaze drifted to the sky. I'm not sure, but I believe back then I suffered through a rather extreme case of a disorder. It was somewhat magnified by being the bearers of the elements of honesty, loyalty, and generosity. A small gasp escaped Twilight's mouth. Oh my gosh! She reached up with a hoof and patted Luna's upper arm and shoulder. I'm so sorry. Luna's eyes slid down to the smaller one next to her. I appreciate it, but I do not deserve it. She looked ahead at Nightmare Moon. What I did back then was wrong, no matter what excuses I might give myself. Dad suddenly hopped into the air and held a foreleg to her forehead. Hey, is it just me, or is it lighter ahead? Applejack craned her head forward and squinted. Well, I'm working around, Dias. She looked back to the rest of the group. Fluttershy, is it just me, or is it the boundary of Whitetail Woods supposed to be a lot farther away? You shouldn't be fitting out so early. Her eyes widened as she suddenly shot forward, breaking to a gallop within seconds. Fluttershy's entire body trembled before she too took off, flying past the startled Nightmare Moon, leaving a yellow and pink contrail in her wake. No, she shouted, tears streaming from her eyes. Rainbow Dash followed her older friend as half a second later. Hey, wait up! She cried out. You don't know what's ahead! Nightmare Moon's wings flapped as the three shot off. Wait! Come back! She shouted. Her horn lit up, but she ceased as Luna and Twilight tried up to her side. We must stop them! Why? Luna asked. She turned to look down the path. We're going that way anyway. She looked back to Rarity and Pinkie Pie as she trotted past. Looks like you better hurry, she said, before she and Twilight trotted along. Nightmare Moon's lips curled back, but she set her gaze straight ahead and followed suit, moving quickly and catching with the rest of the group, now standing in the cluster at the side of an elm. She stopped next to Applejack and looked down at the earth pony. brow furrowed at her slight jaw expression. Well, what is it? Applejack's head slowly tilted up and looked at Nightmare Moon. She slowly went back down and wordlessly motioned to where she was staring. Nightmare Moon slowly looked up, her eyes widening as she stared out. What? A slow wind tossed a few leaves around tree stumps, the dominant feature of the land as far as anyone could see. Hundreds, perhaps thousands of them sprouted from the ground. Hundreds of trees once standing proud and tall. Applejack slid her stetson off her head and placed it over her chest as she looked out at the devastated forest. Elias, this is my end. She looked up at Dash as she hovered by her side opposite Nightmare Moon. Dash, how fast can you fly around Whitetail Woods borders and scope out the situation? Dash's eyes narrowed as her wings buzzed. I'm on it! She shouted, shooting off and leaving a rainbow tree contrail behind, close to the ground. Nightmare Moon reared back. Come back here! She shouted, May firing out after Dash. Luna was silently by her side, her own mane reaching out, blocking Nightmare Moon's reach. Her expression was neutral, save piercing eyes that almost caused Nightmare Moon to finish. Let her be, she stated. This is a point. The dark alicorn snorted and her eyes glowed. What? The tree stumps. She stepped over to Applejack and leaned her neck down, bringing her visage a scant few inches from Applejack's face. Do not tell me that in your Equestria trees aren't cut down, she shouted, sending her pony slide back. Applejack flinched, but pointed her hose wide apart and squared her shoulders. It's not just that! She backed up to a stump, keeping her eyes on Nightmare Moon the entire time. There's no saplings of new growth. They've all been clear-cut and none of them are replaced, she sucked in her breath. They're killing the Whitetail Wood, and this can't be the only place it's happening! Fluttershy let out a strangled sob, and her entire body shook.
Without the trees, the soil would be eroded away.
She started out. She trotted over to Nightmare Moon and looked up at her wide, watery eyes.
And no new growth or planet wings will mean Whitetail Wood will continue to shrink with every tree cut down. All the animals, no homes for them, no homes.
Rarity and Pinkie Pie were by her sides in an instant. There, Rarity said, wrapping her forelegs around Fluttershy in a hug. Nightmare Moon's body trembled slightly. All right. So what does this change precisely? The Tyrant Filly must still be stopped. She turned her gaze to the general director of Canterlot. We should not be wasting our time going to Ponyville. Luna, still standing by Nightmare Moon's side, shook her head. And you do not know we won't go there until we see how this Equestria's Ponyville is doing. It's not only for our benefit, remember. She cantered right up to Nightmare Moon's flank and waved a wing in Ponyville's direction. It has been a millennium after all. Nightmare Moon's teeth ground together. Very well, but I will brook no further delays, she shouted, her mane and tail flapping about. Gaze shifted slightly to the right of Rainbow Dash as flew back to the group. Well, Dash landed in front of everyone there, panting slightly. About half of Whitetail Wood's gone, she reported, the hood of her cloak casting her face in shadow. I saw a few animals here and there, but not many. She focused on Fluttershy, eyes sympathetic. Sorry, Fluttershy. Fluttershy's right eye twitched.
It's all right, Rainbow Dash.
She suddenly glanced down and covered her head with her wings. Sobs coming from underneath. Okay. Cue glomping of flutters. She barely reacted as Dash, Pinkie Pie, Applejack, and Rarity huddled around her, patting her back or gently rubbing her wings. Twilight walked up to Dash's side. Did you manage to see Ponyville? The Pegasus focused on her. Yeah, and I hate to sound like I'm in a Derry Dune novel, but I think you're going to have to see yourself what's happened there. Twilight nodded. All right. Her head suddenly shot up as Nightmare Moon was there by her side. Eep! She shouted, hopping into the air. Nightmare Moon's slitted eyes flashed for a moment. Then perhaps we shall find out. Correct. With that, she turned her gaze towards Dash. Direction of Ponyville. Dash kept her gaze low, and hood covering her eyes as she jabbed a hoof in the general direction, opposite of where they came from. Nightmare Moon nodded to her before turning and trotting off. Luna's lips turned up as she watched her counterpart walking off. Excellent! Applejack blinked. Excellent? Her head shot up and rose running for us. Half the forest is gone! How's that excellent? Luna swallowed and cheeks turned red. My apologies, Applejack. She glanced, looking over her shoulder. I did not mean Whitetail Wood. I meant that I believe Nightmare Moon's eyes might be opening. Slowly, but they're opening. She unfurled the wing and motioned to Nightmare Moon as they slowly receded in the distance. Come, my little ponies! With that, she walked off, following Nightmare Moon. Rarity reached out and lifted the Fluttershy's right wing.
Fluttershy, darling, are you fit to continue?
Fluttershy's eyes started out.
No, I'm not. It's dark here and scary. The land and the animals are dying.
She lifted her wings from her head and folded them back against her body.
But things will get better while I'm sitting here shivering.
She stood up on all fours and stared straight ahead at Nightmare Moon and Luna.
Now let's go,
She shouted, her head suddenly ducking low.
before I change my mind.
20 minutes later. The first thing they noticed about Ponyville was the wall. It was solid, wrapping around the entire town. Metal bands reinforcing the timbers. Gemstones of various colors and shapes and sizes were embedded in the wood. A haze hung over parts of the town, supplied by several chimneys burning non-stop. Massive gates stood in front of the main path, with a smaller pony-sized door built into it. Near a bend in the wall, a small covert of stone could be seen, built into the bottom for dayrings. Finally, guard towers were evenly spaced right behind the wall, each one with at least 2 ponies stafing it. Twilight cantered back and forth as she beheld the wall. She and the rest were standing about a meter away, near a lone tree and a group of stumps. Oh my gosh, she repeated, head swishing back and forth, and bits of her mane springing up, pushing her blood around. Nightmare Moon rolled her eyes. I assume that there's no wall around Ponyville either. Death flew right into her muzzle. Well, duh! She said, rolling her eyes. Rarity eyed the chance to run her chin.
Oh my,
She muttered.
it's brilliant, but so sad he had to do such a thing.
Everyone turned to the pearl-white unicorn. What do you mean? Applejack asked. Rarity shrugged.
Then, if a magical current is run through these gems, a force field will be created, striking the barrier. It's near perfect arrangement.
Her eyes looked up for a moment.
Oh, to be able to get a view of those.
Twilight's eyes lit up. Rarity, that's amazing! Her expression darkened.
Wait, I never read anything like that.
She looked to her. When did you learn something like that? Rarity snorted away Twilight off.
Oh, please, darling. I taught you everything you know about gems, but not everything I know.
Her expression turned grim.
Oh, this is my sense me.
Pinky blinked.
Why? The gems class with the color?
Rarity's jaw cracked to the right before she shrugged.
Well, all right, there's that.
She pointed a hoof at the wall.
But think about it, girls. Ponyville is less than a half-day's travel from Catalot. If they feel this threatened in the shadow of the capital itself, how's the rest of Equestria doing?
Twilight suddenly gasped. Shining armor! Cadence! She cried out, throwing back a kick in the air. She dropped back down and tried over to Nightmare Moon. Did you happen to see either a white-coated unicorn stallion or a pink-coated alicorn mare before coming to our Equestria? She asked, hopping from hoof to hoof. Applejack was by her side in an instant, foreleg draped around her withers and back. Easy, Circle Cube. Dash dropped down on the opposite side and extended a wing. Yeah, remember, the not shining armor or the cadence you know. Twilight's head went back and forth between the two. I know, but it's still a shining armor and cadence. My big brother, best friend forever, and the best full share ever. She slowly leaned back onto her haunches. My brain says the ones I know are safe back at home. But my heart... Nightmare Moon slowly reached out and placed an armor hoof on Twilight's shoulder. I was not here long, she said. I have no information one way or the other. She drew her head back slightly. I am sorry. Twilight looked up, eyes shining. No, it's all right, she whispered. Thank you for her concern. Nightmare Moon opened her mouth, but before her head shot up in horn flashed. Down, foes! She shouted as a violet shield sprung up around the group, before an arrow would have embedded itself in the back of Twilight's head. The arrow shaft flashed for a moment before snapping, the two halves dropping into the bare dirt. Nightmare Moon strode forward, shield expanding into a full dome even as the smaller ponies scrambled back, either of their own accord or from one particular Pegasus pony. Nightmare Moon's telekinesis. Her lips drew back into a sneer. Do they not know who they are dealing with? Luna rolled her eyes. No, they don't. With that, she walked up beside Nightmare Moon. She looked to her, suppressing a shudder. These are obviously difficult times for them. We are strangers huddled near their gate. A shout from one of the guard towers drew everyone's attention. Who goes there? A mint green unicorn mare shouted. 2 crossbows floating by her head. Who are the Alicorns? Hey, Lyra, what's up? Rainbow Dash still caught Nightmare Moon's grip, twisting around the voice. No way. Is that Lyra Heartstrings? Pinkie Pie bounced up.
Oh, it is!
She waved before like,
Hi, Alternate Universe Lyra! Have you and Bonbon married here?
Lyra at the guard tower leaned forward over a rail. Who are you? She said, golden eyes narrowing. Pinkie Pie blew out of breath.
It's me, Pinkie Pie!
Lyra's eyes darted back and forth. Who? Rainbow Dash suddenly guessed. Of horse feathers. Pinkie Pie, I don't think this Lyra knows you. Pinkie Pie scratched her head.
Wait, why not? Am I going by Pinkamena here?
Twilight slowly looked at her. Or, in this reality, you never left the rock farm to begin with. She looked around at Rarity, Fluttershy, Pinkie Pie, Applejack, and Rainbow Dash. All of your lives could be completely different. I could still be at Manhattan, Applejack exclaimed. And I could never have left Cloudsdale, Rainbow Dash added. Fluttershy sucked in her breath.
Both of us could still be there.
Rarity swung from side to side.
And I could still be in that Celestia forsaken wasteland I was in after finding that geode.
Nightmare rolled her eyes. Well, the alternate versions of you might not be here, but you 6 are. She locked eyes with Luna. So, what do you suggest we do? Luna glanced at the tower at Lyra. Announce who you are and your intentions, but don't threaten anyone. Her eyes closed for a moment. I'll be watching after all. Nightmare Moon walked forward, her spreading wings out, let her horn up from root to tip, open mouth wide. Tell me, Lyra Heartstrings, have you heard of Nightmare Moon, locked away in the moon for 1,000 years? Luna leaned down to Twilight. What's like this bad? Twilight shrugged. Give or take, yeah. Other ponies from the guard tower were staring at Nightmare Moon. Lyra spoke up. No, I've never heard of Nightmare Moon. Is that... Yes! I am Nightmare Moon! The Alicorn cried out, mane flaring out, drinking into surrounding light. She reared up before dropping both forehoofs to the ground, cracking the dirt. For 1,000 years I waited to return and claim my rightful place on the throne. But I see a usurper has stolen what is mine. She slowly rose into the air, finally coming level to Lyra. Twilight Sparkle, correct? Lyra nodded, eyes wide and crossbows carrying to her fro. Yes! She looked away from Nightmare Moon. She sold the sun for Celestia, and now the land freezes. She suddenly gasped. There are rumors of a battle of Caroline involving her. Was that you? A little chuckle came from Nightmare Moon. I faced her in battle, yes. She is powerful, but a mere foe. I fled and gathered allies from across the veil. She turned to herself. Come forth, elements of harmony, and my other self. Rarity snorted. Well, she's got into the road, hasn't she? Applejack snickered. Yeah, but I think we better mosey on forward. She adjusted her hat and motioned to Nightmare Moon's general location. After you, darling. Luna and the others left the general vicinity in the lone tree, head held high. I grant you for peace and time! We are here to aid our fellow ponies to restore balance to this land! She continued, staring straight up at the Nightmare Moon. Will you bring back the sun? Said another guard, pointing. Nightmare Moon kicked the air. I will defeat Tyrant Filly, yes. I merely ask that my allies be allowed to meet ponies inside, and to reassure them that the time of salvation is at hand. Luna turned and ran to the set of stairs in the back of the tower, disappearing down them as Nightmare Moon floated back down to the ground. She still looked at Luna and nickered. Well, how was that? Luna's eyes tilted as the giant gate slowly opened. You got your point across. Now let's see if you can deal with common ponies and their problems. A bark of laughter escaped Nightmare Moon. Ha 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 ha! Rose play, she said as she trotted forward. Luna kept her gaze on her. Soon be in the process, he asked very quickly. Twilight let loose a sigh. I figured that, princess, but it's what she's got to learn, right? Luna nodded. Right. Now, let's go. We shouldn't keep Ponyville or Her Royal Highness waiting, now should we? With that, the 7 followed Nightmare Moon into Ponyville.